Jesus Christ, really?
Don't forget to become a member of UnrealEntGaming's Patreon for exclusive manga content and early access. Isn't that right, Seth?
I already joined his Patreon today. Tons of great stuff on there, actually. But did you really have to blow up the city?
Yes.
Blew up the dominoes. You blew up the dominoes and you're laughing. Do you realize the f***ing crisis here?
And you will be next. Unless you subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications right now.
Or else what? You'll aggressively scream another man's name for several hours?
Kakarot! Kakarot!
Now, although I knew that there was still a glimmer of hope that lied within our hero's ability to go and find a way to turn things around in battle, if there was ever a better time for Universe 7's mightiest warriors to come together and annihilate Goku Black once and for all, then I'm proud to say that there is no other time that is greater than the one that they currently find themselves in right now.
Our story now continues following the initial events of Makaioshin Goku Black shown having to battle against legendary Super Saiyan Karoly, all while Universe 10's Kaioshin Gowasu was helping aid in assisting the alternate future Zamasu, as with the alternate future Zamasu now shown having to complete his ritual and having to now be directly connected to Goku Black was when Gowasu then went on to respond. So now as it currently stands, you now Zamasu hereby carry the title as being Goku Black's official Supreme Kai, as your lifelines are now directly linked, and so whatever happens to you will as a result affect Goku Black in the process, Gowasu says. But I warn you now, as one of the circumstances that will not go on to affect Black will be taking one's life to see his opposite die, Gowasu continues. For the chain between a destroyer god and a Kaioshin cannot be broken if one were to willingly act on such a thing, Gowasu says, for you will need to be destroyed by the hands of another in order for Black's life to also be impacted. Even if it means having Black take it upon himself to act on this decision, it will ultimately result in his life being snuffed away whether he knows of your connection to him or not. As once the Supreme Kai, who is directly tied to a god of destruction, is killed, then that god slowly dies with him, and so I hope that you understand, Zamasu. This is a one-way ticket, and sadly there is no coming back from it, with Angel Cuss having to then chime in. Oh, and for the record, the events of this day will be brought forth to the Grand Minister, so that way we are able to reverse the damage that was caused by Goku Black. However, if you are to somehow perish during this battle, then you cannot return if history were to remain unchanged, Cuss says. You do understand this, don't you, Zamasu? With Zamasu responding, yes, I understand. And so now I know what I must go and do, for I never wanted any of this to ever happen to begin with, and so therefore, I must be the one who changes it, with Kaioshin Gowasu having to then chime back in. If you wish to truly go through with this, then you must go and act upon this now while you still can, but understand that this action, whatever it may end up being, cannot be undone once you go and make them, with Zamasu having to then respond, I understand, and I don't expect anything less once I engage with him, and while I'm not sure if the Mortals fusion will hold out long enough without running through the time limit of the Potaras, it would be best for me to ensure their victory by joining them in this battle. However, I can only choose to do so in a way of having to aid them, where I take more of a defensive line of approach over an offensive one instead, since I wouldn't of course be strong enough to actually make a difference against Goku Black in my current condition. And so now that I know on what it is that I would have to go and do, I must hurry before it's too late for them down there, Zamasu says. To which even then, in the meantime, when then venturing back down below and seeing Ultra Ego Vegeta attempt to attack Makaioshin Goku Black, with Goku Black being shown grabbing onto Vegeta's punch, was when Black then went on to respond, You know, if I would have known that you would have been this much of a hassle to deal with, then I would have went and made you my first victim the moment you came here, Vegeta. But I ensure you that sooner rather than later, you will be the first to go, and I will personally see to it that you are, because you have no place in my world and you never will. And so while I leave you be for the time being as I go and engage against a greater challenger within the moment, Black continues, I just want you to know that so as long as I continue to exist within the same world as you do, understand that you will always and forever be known as being second fiddle when compared to me, Saiyan. And no amount of backing by your arrogant little mortal allies will save you from the punishment that you have coming, Vegeta. And so now stay out of my way, to which as Goku Black was then shown having to kick Vegeta away, Goku Black from that point immediately had gone as far as to redirect his attention back at Karoly, as Goku Black then went on to continue, and now back to you, Saiyan. For you are my primary target and I will not stop fighting you until you are destroyed. And so you can go and try whatever you think will work against me, Black adds, and I'll just continue to go and prove to you on why nothing you do will be enough to put me down. But even then, despite with Goku Black attempting to attack Karoly, with Karoly being shown effortlessly moving out of the way, was when Karoly then went on to respond, "You still don't seem to get it, do you? For the limits of your power while alone can only take you so far against us, while my power continues to be amplified tenfold. And this just means that while we're reserving ourselves to prevent us from separating," Karoly adds, "even then, while we continue to suppress ourselves, we are still far stronger than you could ever hope to become, Makaioshin. And so maybe you haven't noticed it by now, but sooner or later it'll come to you, but first I'm going to shatter your ego before I go forward with shattering your body, Black. So while your focus is beginning to stray away due to your frustration in having me get the better of you," Karoly continues, "it'll only be a matter of time before you lose yourself completely," to which as Goku Black was once again shown attacking, it was still despite the fact that with Goku Black attempting to shatter through Karoly's defense, with Karoly being shown unfazed by this, was when Goku Black then went on to continue, "Silence, you ego-driven little animal! I've studied you mortals enough to know exactly what it is that I would need to go and do, and I'll make sure that I see to it that I do. Oh, I'm getting utterly sick to my stomach of having to put up with this bastard already," Vegeta went on to try to maintain balance by responding, "The nerve of that coward to go and say all of that in which he said when he's the one who's at a disadvantage here." But then, it was from out of nowhere with Beast Gohan jumping in and having to stop Vegeta from having to fly out any further, was when Gohan then went on to respond, "Don't worry, I got you, Vegeta. You aren't alone in this, and so I'm not going to have you do this all alone, and so I want you to just know that I'll be right here with you along the way, so we need to see to it that we end this, and we end this now," with Vegeta responding, "Oh, enough is enough already. I have a plan, but in order for it to work, we'll need to go and find a way to hit that bastard with everything that we have, all at the same time without him having to slow any of our attacks down in the process," with Beast Gohan questioning, "But will we have enough time to go and make that happen without him having to catch on to what we're doing is the question, and so what's the plan?" Gohan says, "We'll need to try and see if Karoly's fusion can keep that bastard distracted long enough for all of us to combine our strongest attacks into one, so that way we can just go and blow that scum out of orbit and out of this world forever. And so while they continue to battle out there, we'll need to watch and wait for the best possible opening that Karoly can create, and that's when we'll go and make our move," to which as Goku Black was still shown attacking Karoly, from the looks of their overall fight, it didn't seem as though Goku Black was able to pierce through Karoly's defenses, as Goku Black then went on to continue, "Why, you rotten Saiyan, why aren't my attacks able to pierce through your defenses like this? How are you so sturdy and able to take so much punishment without losing a shred of power throughout the course of this fight? As your defenses shouldn't be this strong to be able to hold out against such attacks for as long as you have by now, and so what are you hiding from me?" "What is there to possibly hide?" Karoly responds, "when all you're looking at is the truth behind what we've been trying to tell you all along, Black. Just because you were able to steal and morph Son Goku's body in ways that go against who he naturally is by nature, doesn't automatically mean that you are fully able to understand understand and use the true power of a Saiyan's potential just because you were able to study our methods of how to use it, Karoly continues. As such was the case back then, and such is the case here and now, Makaioshin, with Goku Black quickly responding, "That's not possible because I am far stronger now than I ever could have dreamed of being before, and so I'm calling your bluff," with Karoly responding, "Oh really? So is that what you think this is? A bluff, huh? Well then tell me then. Does any of this look like I'm bluffing to you? Because you'd be rather foolish to think that it was, Makaioshin." "Oh, we'll see who the true fool here between us really is," Saiyan Black went on to then quickly respond. "And as a matter of fact, since you think that you're so much stronger than me, then let's just see on how you are able to handle several versions of me, all while I go and ready your grave, mortal. And so now go, my minions." Goku Black went on to then quickly spawn 2 Super Saiyan Rose 3s by using his time ring. "Go and hold that fusion at bay while I prepare to end his existence once and for all, as I know of just the way on how to end him too. Yes, and so now let's just see how much power you can go and exert now while you're being backed into a corner." "I see, and so this was your plan, huh?" Karoly responds. "You can send hundreds of them after us and it still won't change the outcome of this fight," which, as Goku Black was then shown charging up for a dark Kamehameha, it only had become fairly evident now that Makaioshin Goku Black was confident in his abilities of using his attacks to cripple the fusion, as Goku Black then went on to respond, "Yeah, well, maybe you're right, Saiyan. Maybe they're only meant to be here to simply throw you off your game while I stall for time. But either way, I highly doubt that you'll be able to take much more of these before your fusion starts to feel the effects of my overwhelming power to which I bear. And so now let's just see how sturdy that body of yours really is, and then we'll see which one of us can talk the talk by also walking the walk as well. Well, sending lower level fighters to try and stop us wasn't your brightest idea, even if you were trying to distract us," Karoly went on to then punch one of the Goku Blacks away by responding. "And yet all you did was go and do exactly as I wanted for you to go and do," Black went on to respond, "which is why you are about to find out on exactly what it was that I meant. And now that I have you locked within my line of fire, let's just see on how far you are willing to push yourself if you hope to survive, Saiyan." To which seconds later, it was only within that moment as Karoly was shown throwing the secondary Goku Blacks within the line of fire as Goku Black's attack was making its way towards Karoly, was when Karoly went on to then continue, "Well, if that's how you want to go and play this little game of yours, then why don't you go and take this one here back to where he belongs then? Now come on and show me on what you can do, Makaioshin." "Oh, persistent bastard. Now I see he's trying to get me to explode and use every bit of power that I have so that way we can burn right through the Potaras," Karoly continues. "But even while he tries, we're not going to let that happen no matter what he tries to throw at us. And so I've got to try and pick my spots carefully and catch him when he isn't looking. Yes, maybe now you can see that no matter how tough you assume for your fusion to be," Black responds upon a giant explosion now being seen, "you and I both know that you can't go and take much more of that after this, and so it's only going to be a matter of time before you break apart like the worms that you are. And so go ahead and call my bluff and say that I'm lying here," Black continues, "because a few more attacks of that magnitude and your fusion is finished, mortals. And so now what's it going to be then? Think you can handle another?" But then it was only just upon with one of the Goku Blacks all of a sudden now being shown getting Hakkai'd was when Vegeta went on to then intervene. "Now I'm not sure if you went and hit your head a little harder than you expected, but you seem to be forgetting one very important thing here, Makaioshin. And that is, so as long as you're still around, then we're still going to be around as well. And that means you aren't going to get rid of us anytime soon either. For once this is all said and done, you aren't going to win, and so you can stop pretending like you will because you're running on borrowed time here," with Black responding, "But a of course, here come the dogs again, ready to be beaten and knowing their place once again. How typical of you fools to still continue to defy me. Well, alright then, here's the ugly truth that you should all already be well aware of. Black went on to then fire an energy blast towards Vegeta and Gohan, which is that your fate hangs in the balance of my hands now, Saiyans. But surprisingly enough then, from out of nowhere, it was just before the blast was able to initially make contact in slamming its way into Vegeta and Gohan, was where from out of nowhere, that was when the future Zamasu was from there shown getting in the way and having to take the hit head on, as Zamasu then went on to shout, "No, you are not the one who will decide who lives and who dies, imposter." Whoa, hey, what are you doing? Gohan went on to then quickly ask upon Zamasu being shown getting dropped down. You didn't have to go and stand in the way of that attack just now, Zamasu. Are you alright? Well, back for more now, are you? Oh, don't you worry, Kai. I haven't forgotten about you one bit, as you were foolish to have stood in the way of that, only to go and wait a second. There appears to be something different about him this time, Black went on to then quickly notice. Something about his life energy feels off, especially when compared to before, so did I miss something here? As his life force feels intertwined with mine somehow, almost as though I can sense a part of my essence somehow merged with his own. And so I'm certain that he must have went and did something when I wasn't looking that caused this. You didn't think that I would simply roll over and die without having anything to say about it, now did you? Zamasu went on to then turn his head by questioning, because I already told you before, I will not perish unless I am able to take a large part of you with me. And you can rest assured that very soon I will be doing just that. With Goku Black responding, "Is that so, Zamasu? Well then tell me then, because I know that you're up to something, and you might as well just go and give it up, because of all of those who stand across from me, you are by far the weakest and easiest of targets here." With Zamasu responding, "You may be right, but it's not power that I wield that'll finally put an end to you, but rather something far more complex than you could ever possibly understand. And so by all means, if you think that I am somehow bluffing, then I welcome you to come and call it." With Black responding, "You idiot, Kai, you think that this is some kind of a joke to you? For you are risking far more than you can ever hope to possibly get back after I'm finished dealing with all of you here on this world. But if you truly want for me to go and call your bluff then, and put your actions into question, then so be it. But just remember that each of you had this coming. So, how about this for starters then, eh, Zamasu?" Black went on to then aim his arm down by responding, "Yes, let's go and begin to call your bluff by obliterating this entire solar system, along with everyone and everything on it, and then we'll go and see on if you were lying or not." With Gowasu quickly having to then chime in, "Wait, he's going to do what now? And with the time rings that he wields, he's likely going to try and make an escape the moment he goes and destroys the entire system." Well, it's not like I wouldn't have went and destroyed this entire system with or without you all here anyways, Black continues. "So, since you all love to stand as one together, then you can all go and die as one together too. And so what now? Do you think that you have what it takes to come and stop me?" With Beast Gohan responding, "Oh, Vegeta, we can't let him go through with this because he's actually crazy enough to go and try." "Oh, damn you. Why don't you just come and fight us first, since we're the ones that you're truly after here, and leave the rest of the universe out of this, Kaioshin?" "Oh, you are in no position to be telling me what to do, mortal, for I do what I want with or without your approval." But then, it was suddenly now from out of nowhere, before Goku Black could act on his intentions, was where from out of nowhere, that was where Karoly was from that point then shown shown smashing his way in by punching Goku Black in the face by then shouting, "Oh no you don't, you coward! Not if I have anything to say about it, you aren't, Makaioshin! We aren't done! And just so you know that so as long as I'm here to challenge you, then until you can manage to get through me, you aren't destroying anything!" Oh, curse this fusion! How does he continue to fight despite taking tremendous amounts of punishment like this? He's going to go and ruin everything if I don't end him. And so no matter what it takes, I will see to it that you are dead. Do you hear me, Saiyan? Dead! As you will all rule the day where I lose to you again. But upon Goku Black then shown firing his blast at Karoly, was where from out of nowhere, that was where Zamasu was once again shown getting in between Karoly and Goku Black's attack yet again, as Karoly went on to then shout, "What the hey, what are you doing? Hurry and get out of the way, Zamasu!" "No, whatever happens to me doesn't matter," Zamasu responds, "because what matters most is that you remain intact because you are the only ones left who can stop him." To which moments later, with the gigantic explosion now seen as Karoly went on to then shield himself, was when Karoly then went on to continue, "Oh, and just what in the world is he thinking by just stepping in front of us like that? Especially in knowing that any one of Goku Black's attacks could be what destroys him, as I know that he's probably up to something, and so maybe it's to help us buy some more time. Oh well, whatever it might be isn't something that I can just go and stand around and wait on," Karoly continues, "and so I have to move in now and continue to put the pressure on him before it's too late, as there's no telling on how much time we have left to still continue to fight him, and so I've got to go now. Stand down, Zamasu!" Karoly went on to shout by dashing towards Black. "He's mine from now on, and so don't be foolish to go and put yourself in danger like that again," as Vegeta then went on to address Gohan. "Oh, listen to me, we're running out of time here, and while Karoly is able to hold that Kaioshin in his place, we'll need to go and combine our power right now. And so while you're still able to wield your power," Vegeta continues, "go and channel it all into one singular attack, and we'll go and strike that bastard together at the same time, the very moment we see that Karoly has created an opening for us to go and do it. And so now hurry, Gohan!" "Right, then let this be how we finally shut him down, and for good this time," Gohan proceeded to then channel his attack, as Goku Black went on to land back down by then responding, "Oh, it's no use. I'm getting nowhere with all of them attacking me like this, and I've already taken far too much damage while fighting them all, and I have to think of a way out while I still can. But how? For this is all Gowasu's fault along with that Angel's. Oh, you are both the ones who are mainly responsible for all of this that is happening to me," Black went on to then look up by then shouting, "because if it were not for your interference in having to help aid them, then my mission would have already had been completed. And so this is all your fault, you wretched gods, for I'll go and slaughter you both." But then, it was only just before Goku Black was able to reach Gowasu and Angel Cuss, was where from out of nowhere, that was when Orange Piccolo was shown extending his arms and grabbing onto Black's legs by then responding, "Oh no, I don't think so. You aren't going anywhere without first having to go and finish your fight with us first, Black." "What the hell? It's you again. Why, you dirty, rotten, no good Namekian, how dare you try and bind me? No more. I am done having to put up with such nonsense, and so now disappear forever. Cut." But then, it was only fortunately enough before Goku Black had the chance to Hakai Piccolo was when Karoly was shown having to then grab onto Goku Black's arm by then responding, "I knew that you would go and try that at some point, but over my dead body you won't, Kaioshin. And so now I'm angry, and you are about to feel my wrath for attempting to go and try and erase him," Karoly responds, "as now that I can see that you're starting to get extremely desperate, I'm not letting up until I break you in half. I'm almost there, just a little more, and it should be ready. And so now are you sure that it'll be enough for it to work?" Gohan questions, with Vegeta responding, "Well, unless you hold even a slight bit of power back, then it has to work," as Piccolo then went on to reappear by joining our heroes and then responding, "Don't think that the two of you are going to be doing this alone either, because this is my fight too, and I'm ready to end this." "All right, thank you, Piccolo," Gohan responds. "Now hurry, we don't have a lot of time left, and So now hurry and charge up for your special beam cannon, and let's wait until we found an opening for us to go and unleash our attacks at the same time. To which even then elsewhere, as Zamasu was shown on the ground shaking but yet still alive following Goku Black's attack, was when Zamasu went on to then utter, "I must jump in and do what I must to ensure that nothing goes wrong while we find a way to beat him. I have to still continue to try." In which all the while with Karoly shown grabbing onto Goku Black's leg and repeatedly being shown slamming Goku's body down onto the ground over and over again, was when Karoly then went on to continue, "How could you possibly still claim to be the most dangerous force who currently stands upon the battlefield when you are already looking at a force that is far more powerful than you can ever even dream of becoming, Kaioshin? And yet somehow you still continue to defy our power despite already proving to be a fallen god whom we've already had beaten before. And while your destiny was already written the day we erased you the first time," Karoly went on to then throw Goku Black out into the distance, "it's time that we go and remind you once again on why you will always be destined to fail. And while you continue to talk about wielding a power that is worthy of being called a true god, then why don't I go and show you what true power worthy of a god feels like, Zamasu?" "You stubborn creatures truly don't understand," Goku Black went on to then slowly stand back up by responding, "for it doesn't matter on how many times you continue to chase me, you could never slay what you simply can't possibly understand. And while I vow to continue this battle of ours until I have seen it through until the absolute end, it won't be me who will fall in the end," Black went on to then spawn his energy saber, "but instead, I plan to carry out with my Zero Mortals plan until every last one of you from all corners of the multiverse are purged and erased from my utopia forever. And so whether I fight one of you or I go and fight all of you, none of you whom I engage with will survive. As I'll go on to make sure that you never speak to me with such disrespect even in the afterlife ever again, mortals. For I am the one who stands above all with no challenger to contest me," Black went on to then rush towards Karoly, "for you will now come to understand that for yourselves because you won't be fast enough to gather enough energy to fire at me on time, mortals. And so now to hell with both you and your ridiculous fusion, Saiyans, now die!" But then, it was only from out of nowhere, shockingly enough, with the alternate future Zamasu getting in between Karoly and Goku Black and from there having to be stabbed directly through the chest, was when Zamasu then went on to quickly respond, "No, not on my watch, imposter. I don't think so. Not if I have something to say about your actions, you won't." You what? What are you doing, you fool? What have you done? Why did you decide to go and stand to protect this creature when you know that this isn't the way, Zamasu? Have you lost your mind or what? Black went on to then continue, "because all you've managed to do here was go and dig your own grave, Kaioshin," with Zamasu responding, "Oh, is that what you think that I went and did, Black? Because the only one here between us who was shown digging their own grave here is you. But maybe you're right. Maybe I have truly lost my mind, or maybe, just maybe, you're the one who doesn't seem to understand, false destroyer. You, the one who wears the face of Goku," Zamasu continues, "have become an emblem of devastation, for my regret is profound as the folly of our joined destinies, as by your hand we are now doomed, a single entity bound for destruction, and though I sought redemption, it seems we shall both be dragged into the abyss, for it was a fate which you had carved out for yourself with the very power that you so desperately desired, fallen Kaioshin. You did this, and upon accepting my fate," Zamasu went on to smile by continuing, "I also had accepted yours on your behalf as well, and the best part about it was that you didn't even see me coming with it," Zamasu continues upon from there being shown grabbing onto Goku Black's shirt. "Can't you see? This is what you wanted, wasn't it? This was what you wanted for me to go and accept, didn't you? Well, guess what?" Zamasu adds, "I did. And since I did, you and I are now directly connected as one, Zamasu. You wanted for me to be your overlooking Supreme Kai to your false God of Destruction title, right? Well, you got it. But be careful on what you wish for, because it just might come back to haunt you, scum. For you had went and brought this onto yourself. As an enraged and shocked Goku Black went on to then respond, You knew all along, so that was what you've been waiting for. You've completely lost your mind, you foolish little worm. What have you done, you coward? What's happening? Why is my body starting to change and shake like this? How could you be willing to throw your life away like this when you could have been so much more than what you are now? With Zamasu responding, well, it's simple, because I would much rather perish by knowing exactly who I was and what it was that I stood for while alive than go and live blindly by my ego and losing myself in the process of trying to become something that I was never destined to become, Kai. And since this was what you wanted, and since this was the path that you decided that you wanted to walk down, Zamasu went on to continue upon, now being shown having to fade away, then how poetic is it that you have finally reached the very end of your road, fallen god. To which upon Goku Black now being shown clinging onto his chest and slowly backing up as Zamasu had faded into the wind, was when Goku Black then went on to respond, Wait, no, curse you, Zamasu. You knew that by destroying yourself after linking yourself to me, would it only go and harm me in the process, you scum? No, how could I have missed this prior to me coming here? But it already looked as though it was too late, because with Karoly now being shown charging up for a massive Kamehameha was when Karoly then went on to respond, Mark my words when I say this, for this will be the last time that you will ever show your face around here ever again, Zamasu. And we're going to personally go and make sure of it too, with Goku Black having to then say to himself, but of course, this was what they've been waiting for the whole time. They're looking to combine their attacks into one, especially now since I'm at my weakest point. I can't allow for them to go through with this, I just can't, for I have to find some means of an escape immediately. As Piccolo then went on to quickly chime in, now everyone, focus all of your power into making sure that no matter how hard he tries to fight it, that we go and wipe him out by hitting him with everything that we have and by doing it as one. But even then, with Goku Black then shown having to quickly try to escape by flying through the orbit and having to dash up towards the sky, was when Goku Black then went on to continue, no, I can't have this moment be ripped away from me after all that I've done to ensure my place in the multiverse. Yes, now this is it. Now everyone together, Piccolo shouts, fire! Yes, this is it. Your nightmare ends here and now with us, Makaioshin. Karoly went on to then fire his attack up by then responding, I don't think I'll be able to escape it. Oh, damn them all. My options are limited, and so I have no other choice, for I must engage no matter the price that I will have to go and pay. No more will I stand here and watch as you mortals continue to spit in the face of true justice, as you will never best me, for it is you who will perish while I will continue to live on forever. Black went on to then power up by shouting, and so whether you band together and fight me as one or alone, my will to rule will never be destroyed, as I will not have you mortals try and hunt me down if I don't have something to say about it, because you won't be given the honors to go and do unto me as you did before. For I am Goku Black, the final and true living god to ever grace the plains of the multiverse. Black went on to reach his arms out by attempting to stop this blast, but then it was only during this act itself, with Goku Black now having to come to realize that there was nothing within his ability that he could have done in order to do anything of the sorts in pushing this blast away, was when Black then went on to continue, oh no! You mortals will not be getting the best best of me again, for I vowed to seek out my revenge until the very end, even if it was the last thing that I did, and so I will not, and I will never allow for you all to go and get in my way ever again. Oh, what's happening to me? Why is my power feeling as though it's starting to... Oh, no! My body can't sustain that power anymore. I'm fading, and I'm fading fast because I can't seem to be able to control myself anymore. To which little by little, with Goku being shown dropping out of his Makaioshin form back down to Super Saiyan Rose 3 and then later back to Super Saiyan Rose, Goku Black had now come to the unfortunate realization that there was nothing within his ability that he could have been able to do to stop this, as Goku Black then went on to continue, I can't push this thing back anymore, and my power continues to drop with every passing second, for this is just too strong for me to go and stop all on my own. I can't hold this back anymore. My power has completely vanished, and I can't escape their combined attack either. No, I can't let them win. As Angel Cuss then went on to respond, well, now it would appear as though after directly severing his Kaioshin lifeline connection by having to destroy the future Zamasu counterparts, Goku Black is now beginning to feel the painful effects of his breakaway, as he's now fallen out of his previous levels and is right back down to his base level as a result of him dying, with Kawasu then having to shout, yes, then this is their chance. Yes, hurry, he's fallen out of grace, everyone. And if there was ever a moment where you can go and lay claim to victory against him, then this is your one and only chance to go and put an end to this nightmare for good, as he has nothing left. As this had now proven to be it, because with Ultra Ego Vegeta, Orange Piccolo, Beast Gohan, and Legendary Super Saiyan Karoly all shown now having to collectively gather their energy together, this had only now proven to be the one and only opportunity they had in order to take down Goku Black for good, as Vegeta then went on to shout, this is our chance! And so now let's end this for good, with Beast Gohan also shouting, yes, this is for every life form that you've ripped away! It's now or never, everyone, Piccolo shouts. Together now, full power, Karoly shouts, to which it was only upon all of them now shown having to overtake Goku Black completely and having their blast completely go right through him was when Goku Black then went on to reminisce by responding, oh, this can't be! How could this have all come to an end after everything that I've devoted in making sure that this wouldn't happen? How could I, cloaked in the power of a true god, go and fall prey to their collective efforts against me, including having to be so blinded as to not see them resort into using fusion again? All of my efforts, everything that I've devoted, all of it destroyed. And had I acted with the cold and ruthless approach that I originally had fought with, then none of this would have happened. But instead, I allowed for my thrill of the fight to dictate my actions instead. And so now I understand on what that was. And it was because for the very first time, Black continues, I finally realized what it felt like to fight like a Saiyan after transforming. For in my Makaioshin form, something came over me where instead of wanting to obliterate them, I chose to instead want to continue to fight them. And my urge to want to punish them by using such a power was what inevitably led to my downfall, as well as having my very own counterpart go and turn his back on me by giving his own life in order to ensure that mine ends. UnrealEntBiz. For never would I ever have imagined, not in countless cycles of time, that my alternate counterparts would become the architect of my ultimate destruction. As how could I have went and turned against myself like this? For it's almost like Gowasu's words continue to echo within the chaos, and reminding me of the path that I had turned my back against for the sake of following this one. For I had become my own greatest enemy, Black went on to then finally conclude. Curse you, damn you, Zamasu, damn you, feeble gods, and you wretched mortals! For my will along with my vision will continue to carry through and live on forever, mortals! As this was now finally it, because with our heroes now beginning to settle on down and catching their breath by maintaining their composure, they have all now finally come to the ultimate realization that the nightmare that was of Goku Black was now finally over, as Angel Cuss went on to chime back in. Well, would you go and look at that, Lord Gowasu? For it would seem as though it all paid off in our favor after all, because with Goku Black's energy signature and life energy now completely gone, we can finally now say that the terror of your once loving Supreme Kai in training has finally been destroyed. And dare I even say, what an amazing display of unity and teamwork as well, with Karoly being shown staring back up in the sky by then responding, Cowardly Kaioshin, you're lucky that the limits of the Potaras bind us from using our true power, but let this be a lesson that you will never forget. And so now do us all a favor, why don't you, and stay dead this time. To which, as our heroes were now beginning to drop down from exhaustion, this had only now gone as far as to show how much our heroes were willing to give in order to see to it that Goku Black was destroyed, as Gohan went on to then chime in, Oh, thank goodness that this is finally over. Oh man, my body feels as though it's made out of jello. Hey, are you guys okay? Yeah, barely, Piccolo went on to then collapse on down. But I couldn't be any happier to know that all of this is finally behind us and that Black is now gone and gone for good. And so how are you holding up, Vegeta? With Vegeta having to respond, Oh, shut your face. I'm fine. Just give me a minute here. As it was only with both Goku and Broly now also shown having to separate and expiring by burning right through their fusion time was when Cuss went on to then chime back in. And from the looks of it down there, it would seem as though the Saiyans had expired all of the power that they had remaining just in the nick of time to push through and separate their fusion at the right time. And so all in all, it looks like everything did in fact end up turning out for the better after all now, didn't it? And with that monster gone, I am glad that you are now safe, Lord Gowasu, with Gowasu having to exhale by then responding, Oh, well, thank goodness that this madness is finally over. Oh, and how I wish that things were different, Gowasu continues, and didn't have to turn out the way they did, but we won because of you, Zamasu. But I only wish that our victory didn't come at the expense of having you lose your life over stopping something that was outside of your control. But then, it was only just upon with Gowasu having to reflect back on the alternate Zamasu that went as far as to give his life to ensure that Goku Black was destroyed, was where from out of nowhere, that was when both Whis and Beerus had then suddenly appeared and having to question the overall situation, with Beerus having to respond, Now do either of you mind telling me on what all of that noise was just now and all of this chaos that I see down below? You didn't happen to bring trouble into my universe now, did you, Kai? With Gowasu responding, Esteemed God of Destruction, Lord Beerus, I humbly do apologize if any of this disturbed you, for you see, we had a bit of a problem on our hands here, and well, with Goku Black being revived from out of nowhere, he, well, decided to want to come back into Universe 7, with Beerus responding, Goku Black, you say? The Kaioshin who went and had stolen that idiot Saiyan's body down there, am I right? So then he was more than likely out for revenge then, I see. And so how was he brought back to life, and more importantly, is where is that Kaioshin now? With Gowasu responding, Well, you see, he's been destroyed now, but, well, in order to go and fix this overall situation, we will need to go and speak with the Grand Minister in order for us to have all of the events that were caused by Goku Black to go back to normal, and especially after destroying Ramush and becoming a temporary placement holder for a god of destruction, with Beerus shouting, "Wait a minute, you're off to go and speak with the Grand Priest about this? And Goku Black was somehow able to become a temporary placement holder and granted the title of a destroyer? And where was I throughout all of this? Now hold on," with Angel, Cuss, and Whis being shown having to wave their staffs by then responding, "Well, it's better to be safe than sorry, especially if Lord Zeno were to somehow catch wind of all of this, so I think it's best for us to go and make haste now and right the wrongs of all of the things that Goku Black was responsible for," with Whis responding, "And I, of course, second that, and so what do you say we go and patch things up around here first before we all go and speak with the Grand Minister then, shall we? And so now don't move, for this will only take just a second," Whis says, in which even then a little later on, as some time had began to pass, when then venturing back on over within Universe 10, we only from that point then take a look and seeing as to how Gowasu was sitting at his table alone and reminiscing of the events that were shown happening, as Gowasu went on to say to himself, "Well, although none of us could have seen what we saw coming, especially after seeing Black return from out of nowhere when he did, now that he is finally gone and gone for good, and I'm happy to know that things are finally back to the way they should be after Cuss had went and spoke with the Grand Minister about the overall situation that was shown having to take place between our universes, and with Lord Ramush revived and brought back into his original position of power courtesy of the Grand Minister bringing him back," he adds, "I'm finally glad that this is all over, and to the credit of Universe 7's mortals, who are by and large quite possibly some of the strongest group of fighters throughout the entire multiverse," Gowasu adds, "and I couldn't have been more proud to also know that Zamasu had went and helped them. And although the Zamasu that we were dealing with was already too far gone," Gowasu continues, "to know that things could have been the way that they were intended and to see you change your ways even if you weren't the real Zamasu of this reality, truly went and had opened my eyes to the truth of a great many things, and I thank you for everything, Zamasu." To which even then when venturing back on over within Universe 7 and now seeing Broly, Goku, and Vegeta being shown eating on Beerus' planet was when Goku then went on to chime in, "Say Vegeta, did you ever think that Black would ever come back the way he did and showcase a new power like the one that he went and used against us when he did? Because if it were not for those Potaras and with Broly being at the right place during the right time, then, well, without our fusion, there's no telling on what would have happened if we didn't go and fuse," with Vegeta responding, "Well, none of us expected to see that bastard's face in this universe anymore for starters, Kakarot. And for the record, even if you didn't go and fuse with Broly when you did, and I'm sure that we still would have found a way to destroy that monster one way or another, and so don't get ahead of yourself here, Kakarot. For your fusion was impressive, but you were holding tremendous amounts of power back for the sake of not breaking the fusion." Well, you're right on that part of having us hold our absolute full and untapped power back against him, since I do believe that we'd have to go and try to find stronger Potaras for that to be the case next time, but I really don't think that we would have been able to beat Goku Black if it wasn't for our fusion stepping in, you know? "And what are you trying to say here?" Vegeta questions, "because you do know that our fusion would have gotten the job done if Black didn't swoop in and knock us both in different directions, don't you?" "Well, all I'm saying is that I found myself fusing with Broly here to be far less of a problem and way easier in our body and power than it would be having to fuse with you, Vegeta. And well, that's probably mainly due to the history that we have with one another, but I don't know, because I think our fusion by having to use the Potaras is far stronger than having you and I fuse into Vegito, don't you think?" With Vegeta questioning, "Hold on there, what did you just say? You're kidding, right? And just what makes you so sure that your fusion with Broly is better suited than your fusion with me, Kakarot?" "Well, for one, we weren't conflicted with one another, nor did we find it tough for us to go and use our power a little faster, and so I don't know, Vegeta. And plus, I didn't have to go and try to fight Broly here on fusing with me either anyways," with Vegeta being shown standing on up by then shouting, "Alright now, I've had it with you, Kakarot. You and I are going to settle this right here, right now, you hear me? And so now hurry and swallow your food and stand up so I can knock some sense into that head of yours." "Well, would you go and look at that, Lord Beerus?" Whis went on to then laugh by responding, "and it would seem as though they all seem to be getting along just fine, and dare I even say, are also about to get ready for another fight, and so aren't you excited to watch them go?" With Beerus responding, "Oh, I'm going going to destroy them, Whis. I really am. Cause I don't know on how much longer I can go and put up with their nonsense, especially here on my planet. And so I'm warning you now, Whis. You better go and get those apes off my planet and as far away from me as you can. Because if they go and start fighting here again, then I'll be left with no other choice than to go and put an end to this myself. As it was only right then and there now, during that moment, where the Beyond Dragon Ball Super story of Goku Black's resurrection manga chapter number 21 finale then comes to a close. Now, what an event, what a twist of fate in having the alternative story take place, and only to go as far as to have Goku Black inadvertently be resurrected courtesy of Android 17's wish and having everything unfold the way it did. I really can't begin to thank you guys enough for sticking around throughout the entirety of this story, as I will go as far as to say that this is not over, as there will be a sequel in the near future, so be sure to keep your eyes and ears peeled out for whenever that's going to be taking place, as again, I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you all so much for watching, everybody. Thank you all so much for your time, to which, as always, if you also just so happen to be new to this channel and of course love Dragon Ball and anime, then I do encourage for you all to head on over and smash that subscribe button, on top of making sure to give this video a big fat thumbs up by smashing that like button down below. Tune back in for more, and with all that being said, I hope you guys had an incredible time as we're going on to the next one, so I'll be seeing each and every single one of you down in the comment section below and in the next video. Take it easy, guys, and have a great day. Peace.
Hello. Did you know that you can stay up to date with the latest Dragon Ball content by simply subscribing to UnrealEntGaming?
Also, don't forget to follow on these social media platforms, you sexy son of a bitch.
Roshi.
Silent Cell, me and the fans are having a moment. That's right. I know what you want. Extra long, thick Dragon Ball content. Quality reviews with flawless editing. Yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you? You dirty bitch.
Roshi, the fuck?
God damn it, I need them to subscribe, Cell.
And we're demonetized.
Yeah, screw it. Let's cut to the video.